God is my power, it gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need.
As we think about and bring into our hearts and minds those that we love the most, care about the most, what we want to pray for, we now see them blessed and loved. We bless our community, we bless our towns, our cities, our states, we bless our country, we bless all the countries, we bless all the leaders of all the countries in the world. And we know that as we send all those blessings out, all that love, we are so blessed as it returns to us. We are so grateful. And thank you for this beautiful day. So be it, and so it is. Amen.
We're so glad to be here this morning. We've had such a wonderful week. We had a wonderful Easter here at Unity Athens, and we're delighted that you're here today to close out the month of April and move us into May. To tell our Unity Nugget this morning, we have our wonderful Reverend Mary Covington from Flint, Michigan, who is also a snowbird. Coming.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
I love that phrase because you know what it really means. If you know German or Dutch, it's God's morning. It is.
I love that.
Well, for an extemporaneous Unity Nugget this morning, I want to share something with you about my experience at Unity Ministerial School. I am a graduate of the Centennial class at Unity Ministerial School, which meant 1989, from the village, as we always call it, the village. The village, everybody's supposed to know what the village means, right? Well, that was approximately the year that they were dedicating the then new Silent Unity building. And their main speaker was this infamous James Dillard Freeman, our Poet Laureate of Unity, who is probably the only person to have a poem on the moon.
Yep. Wow.
Well, as he stood there on the podium that afternoon, beautiful sunny afternoon, have you seen pictures of James?
Yes.
Who's no longer here on this planet with us? Well, he had this gorgeous white hair, silver white kind. And he had it all combed to the front. You know why, right? Male vanity.
Oh, I see.
Picture on this.
She's doing her Vanna White. Well, as he was reading an original poem for us, the wind came through and blew all of this lovely hair up into a halo. Oh. And it just stood there for a moment. I turned and I looked at John Strickland, who was there, then the head of Silent Unity, and we both giggled. Well, Jim got his halo today. But Jim was more awesome than that because he was then married to his second wife, Billy, whom he had gotten out of Silent Unity, as we always said out there in the village. She'd been an excellent writer for us. But she was in the stages of dementia, and he would bring her with him to our class. Well, I noticed that, for my estimation, no provisions were being made for either of them, really. He had his podium, which Jim loved. But what to do with Billy? So I took it upon myself that every time they came, which was once a week, I would have a chair ready for her, sit her down, get her comfortable, and then I'd have his cup of coffee for him. I didn't think he noticed. Just kind of take things for granted. Till the last one day I got her comfortable and I got myself comfortable. And he stopped his lecture and he looked around and he said, "Where's my coffee?" I said, "Well, I didn't think you noticed, Jim, but I'll get it for you right now." And Jim was kind of like our resident historian of what had gone on in Unity. And he told the story of this magnificent woman born in Mississippi, about 6 feet tall, who found Unity. And that's what I want us to think about this morning is, how did you find unity? How will you help others to find unity? She had been sick. She was a school teacher in Chicago, and she had been ill with cancer. And she was home that day recuperating. Her mother was there to take care of her. And every time she passed the coffee table, this book would fall off. Then she stopped and put it back on the coffee table. And the next time she passed the coffee table, the book would fall off. What is this? So she asked her mother, what is this? She said, well, do something with it. So she read it. It was Lessons in Truth by Emily Cady. And she said to her mother, where did this come from? She says, oh, it's been there a long time, honey. In other words, it was there for her, waiting for her to use it. Johnny used it, studied it, was so intrigued that she found unity and became a unity, not just a teacher, but a unity minister. She eventually parted from the formal unity organization and formed Christ Fellowship in Chicago, a 4,000-seat church. And she was a dynamic presence. Her name was the Reverend Johnny Coleman.
Yay, Johnny.
And that's how she found unity. And as a subsequent action, how other people found unity. Because Johnny taught the Reverend Barbara King.
And just thank you, Mary. Just Mary School, where I went, and who ordained me, and who just won a Walden Award from Unity, and who just had a chapel at Hartsfield Airport named after her in her honor. To read our daily word today, we have Sherilyn Q.
Today's message is on healing. I praise and bless the life energy in my body and mind. Unity co-founder Myrtle Fillmore's healing from serious illness led to the founding of the Unity movement. She discovered that her intelligence could guide the life energy in her body. She wrote, I began to teach my body and got marvelous results. Speaking words of strength and power, Myrtle praised the life in every part of her body. She prayed, asking for strength to think only kind, loving, and sincere thoughts about her body. Myrtle refused to be discouraged when her progress seemed slow. Eventually, in 2 years, she realized wholeness. Following Myrtle's example, I release all thought of weakness or disease. In steadfast faith, I praise and bless the life energy in my body and mind. I realize wholeness. He said to her, Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace. From Luke 8:48.
I am as God created me, in the light and love and the glory. I am as God created me, in the light and the love and the glory. In the light and the love and the glory, in the light and the love and the glory, in the light and the love and the glory, I am.
April, the spiritual faculty is wisdom, the ability to evaluate, discern, and apply what we know. The disciple is James, the son of Zebedee, and the color is yellow. The location is the solar plexus, and the affirmation is, I am guided by divine wisdom in every thought, word, and action.
So in this month of April, we've been talking about a number of things, starting out with spreading joy and finding joy in return. Sometimes when we're not feeling joyful or joyous, or things don't seem to be going so well, we can spread joy. We can plant joy in places. And as we do that, I think that enhances our own ability to find joy within us. We talked about on Palm Sunday, Hosanna, the blessing, the gratitude, the amazing energy there is in the expecting of something wonderful. And even Jesus' journey toward what he, I'm sure, knew what was going to happen, in a sense of confidence and trust and knowing. And then last Sunday, we talked about Ellen Davenport's message that was actually in our daily word of the three concepts of Easter: crucifixion, the tomb, and resurrection. And so now, as we've gone through all this in the month, we can think of, how would I like to see my life resurrected? What can I do moving forward to get even more joy, success, well-being? Because success isn't always about money, is it, or a job or a career. It's about well-being. It's successful living. Intuition kept coming up all week, and then it was interesting because Debbie's going to do a solo about intuition. And I turned to one of my classic spiritual texts, kind of like a Bible in some ways. I'm not being sacrilegious, anyone, but it's Oprah Magazine. This is the current month, so probably May 2019. Highly suggest picking this up if you don't subscribe, and you probably can get it online too, because there's a whole section in here, as there often is with Oprah, about self-empowerment, tools for living better. She has a number of wonderful guest authors from time to time. The person's article that I love the best in this issue was Keith Yamashita. He's a transformational workshop and has a website leader. And he tells a story in there, I'm going to summarize it pretty quickly, about getting a stroke at 51, I believe, years of age. And the shock of that and the kind of despair. But he had just decided to move from New York to California. He was getting these nudges, these intuitive feelings that it was time to do something, time to move. And he didn't quite have the backing of his husband or their two children with him, but they finally agreed, and he packed up and moved to California with the children, and his husband was to follow. And shortly after he got there, I think it was like 24 hours, he wasn't feeling well and went to the hospital, and the doctor looked at him and said, "You are right now having a stroke, the lower part of your brain." And he got through it okay, and everything worked out, but he came through with these wonderful techniques we can use, which are in much more detail in the article, but it really fits in with Unity teachings. The first one being to listen to our intuition. Now, intuition can be something that we're going forward with, or it can be something telling us not to go there. These nudges, these voices of God we talk about often here, which isn't always something speaking to you from your attic or your ceiling. It can often be just something that you don't think you came up with on your own. That's how I can usually tell if it's spirit talking to me versus part of my brain or my worry or something else talking to me. Arvin Scott shared out loud, so I can share this. It was last Sunday, I believe, or the Sunday before, that all of a sudden he heard the voice of God telling him he is his own metronome. He is all he needs in his music. When we hear something that doesn't quite sound like we just made it up, it's often the voice of God. Yamashita used this as sort of what he was feeling about moving to California, because it all did truly work out. But he asked us to think about this. What are the inklings and your intuitions in your life right now? And feel free to write these down. And if you want some paper, Kevin has some in the back there. The sound stand. He said they might be physical feelings of anxiety or excitement, or daydreams that you may have been dismissing, not paying attention to, or a series of small coincidences that you haven't yet connected the dots with. Ever had that? This happens, then that happens. You find something that was lost. You get a nudge, you get a word from somebody, a nudge from spirit, a song on the radio. They all seem to fit, like it's telling you something. He says, write them down and think about what they may be trying to tell you. He also suggests we unpack our negative beliefs. Oh, anyone have any unpacking to do? Okay. Always look in your own mirror, Bronte. Yeah, I have my negative beliefs. And think about what you may be thinking negatively about. It might be something like saying, oh, I can't sing. I don't know how many times I've heard that from folks over the years. You know, and I always say, yes, you can sing, because I learned that from Sharon West, who used to be the music minister at Unity Atlanta. Yes, you can sing. Yes, you can sing. Or I can't paint. Or I'm no good at gardening. Or woundology, as Carolyn Mace calls it, where we start talking about, oh, you know, I had this happen to me, 20 years ago. And while that's fine to work through with a therapist, it's really, to me, not fine to be continually talking about it in our daily life. It takes us back there. Healing is going forward. Think about that, he suggests, in what you can do moving forward. And then change that belief. Write it down. So if you're thinking, okay, I'm not good at balancing the budget. Well, why do you say that? And go back and think about a time when you were good at balancing the budget and focus on that versus the negative thing. I'm going to flip over for a moment to a story about a man who is called, I want to get his name right, Josh Bratchley. Now, I don't know how much you know about cave diving or underground caves. Anyone have done any cave diving?
Not too much.
Nothing appealed to that about, you just don't feel that I really want to do this on my next vacation. Maybe I can make it sound a little more appealing that some of these cave divers go into spots that are 2 feet, that's approximately 2 feet tall, and as wide as a wide pair of shoulders. Because they love the adventure of it. They want to go into these places and explore new places. Yeah, gotcha. I'm already like, yeah, no, thank you. Well, Josh likes that. And there still is, I'm sure, a cave up in Tennessee. That kind of tight spot. And there'd only been 2 divers in it ever. And that was back about 5 or 10 years ago. They didn't get very far. They said there was an air bubble down at the end. And it was, the entrance to it kind of looked like, if you believed in hell, which we don't here, it looked kind of like the entrance to hell, kind of a dark little hole under a tree, Anyway, Josh liked the idea of it, and he's a cave diver. So he and a friend, and I guess there was another group, they had a lifeline between them, because if you're going to, remember this, if you're going to do cave diving, use a lifeline so that the person behind you can pull you out if your air packets wear out. They wear tanks, some of them on the sides of their bodies, so that they're not any bigger on the back where they can squeeze through better. Okay. Josh was the first one in. Got quite deep into the cave and the lifeline broke. I know. There's a religious and spiritual story to this too. His lifeline broke. Tried to find his way back to his partner. And it's dark in these places, and it's murky. It's silty water. Couldn't find his way back. Tried several times. A cry for help went up on land as his partner came out and said, the dangling ropes. So, happy ending to the story. I can barely think about that. Don't go too many details. But he found a pocket of air. He found the pocket. And he found a ledge to sit on. And they called in one of the most famous rescue divers ever, whose name is Sorensen. Sorensen had experience. In fact, Sorensen invented the packs that go on the side of you. So Sorensen went into the cave and found Josh sitting on a ledge He'd been in there for over 24 hours. Sorensen said he kind of looked like a mud snowman covered with silt. Josh said to him, "Who are you?" Sorensen said, "I'm Sorensen." He said, "Oh, you're the guy that invented those. Yeah, I'm doing good. Let's get me out of here." And he did. And the first thing he asked for Pete was pizza. Why is this about intuition? What does this have to do with the spiritual journey? Everything that happens to us leads us to some place that's even better. Why? Josh was actually, just months ago, Queen Elizabeth II appointed him a member of the Order of the British Empire, he was British, for his role as a support driver last June and July in the rescue of those 12 boys from the Thailand cave. That's who Josh was. Do you think perhaps that experience of how to survive? Those boys were in there over 2 weeks. They found a ledge and an air pocket and had a wonderful coach that helped them meditate and pray their way through it. Do you think that may have helped him in this instance? Now you might have said, now if it were me, it would mean I'd never go in a cave again. But he loved caves. That is how we move forward. That to me fits into this, because the final thing and the amazing thing to me about Keith Yamashita's message in Oprah was to think about our lives as an adventure and actually think about making a special playlist. Any of you have playlists on your devices where, well, if you're not familiar with it, you pick a bunch of songs and you can put it on your phone or on your tablet or your computer, or with your special car hookups nowadays, you can play your playlist. My grandkids have playlists, okay? They got theirs 7 or 5 long before I ever had one, of your favorite songs. And Keith suggests putting a funeral playlist together. Now that might sound kind of morbid. In fact, his 2 kids that are teenagers in California found it on the tablet and said, "Dad, this is really morbid. Is this about your stroke?" And he said, "No, it's about living. What songs make you come alive?" Think about creating those songs, not just to play, and we don't even do funerals really in Unity. We do life services, celebrations of life, happy memorial times. What songs make you come alive? The first one I thought of was from Flashdance, What a Feeling by Irene Cara. Love that song. Take your passion and make it happen. What a feeling. Then I thought of Denise Rosier, learning to re-say her name, and her song, I Know God, because it makes me cry. And that's one of the criteria, he said, for this playlist. Something that makes you cry. Happy tears or meaningful tears. Then I thought of the Happy Song by Pharrell Williams. Amazing. I've got 4 tracks of it in a row on my CD in my car. So I don't even have to go back, it just plays 4 times. The grandkids want that CD every time they're with me. And then Stanfield, thank you. What would I do today if I were brave? Because those, to me, are all songs of encouragement and stepping out and being brave. So think about that. Not a playlist to play when we are turned into this beautiful, light, amazing, pure, bright creature that we truly are, but a playlist to live by. Yamashita also quotes Mary Oliver's poem, Summer Day, and I'll just read a part of it to conclude. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I have been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Think on that. Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one and precious life? Your one and precious life. Now, some of us that believe in reincarnation or living again or even living as a being of light and love after we drop the body might say there's more than one, but maybe it is just one continual thing. Point being, what do you want to do with it this time around? What songs will move you forward? What intuitive nudges do you want to pay attention to? What beliefs might be holding you back that you can turn around? It's beliefs about our world, too. Oh, so that's going on now. Throw light at it. Your light is powerful. Even having a positive thought about the world or anything going on in your life changes the energy. That is what I know for sure. And so then I was really tickled to know that our wonderful Debbie Schrodt wrote a new song when you were at Posse, right? So, or did it come
It was
before then? About
Intuition.
So we are going to listen to that, and then we'll take our sacred exchange.
Wouldn't it be nice to more than just survive, to live my life authentically, more victoriously? I'll trust my intuition, my inner guiding source, release my inhibition, tune in and just listen, follow its wise course.
And my love,
Over the mountains,
blessings on everyone in this circle, on our families and friends, our homes and our
over the
homelands.
sea, I send my love.
All our dear ones, all those on our minds and our hearts, we send blessings on our country. We see it back.
Every
Healthy,
turn
whole, all world leaders.
I send my